A very good evening, friends. I welcome you all to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by the Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is June 6th. The list of articles which we are going to discuss is displayed here. Have a look at it. Now, let's start our discussion. In this section, we are going to solve two previous year MCQs which had appeared in the preliminary examination. Let us solve them. Look at this first question. It talks about the prison reforms which are done in India. Before solving, let us see the grasp about it. See, in lines of the reforms in the country, the government took a decision to review and revise the colonial era outdated Prison Act in tune with the contemporary modern needs and correctional ideology. So, now let us try to answer this question. See, under the Indian Constitution, prisons, people in them, are a state responsibility. This means the state governments manage and run the prisons according to Prisons Acts of 1894 and their own prison manuals. See, the state governments are the only ones who can make law about the prisons. So, states have the main role and authority to change the prison laws, rules and regulations. Hence, statement 1 is correct. See, even though states handle prisons, the central government of India also supports the efficient prison management because it is important for the criminal justice system. Recently, Ministry of Home Affairs reviewed the three old prison acts of Prison Act 1894, Prisoners Act 1900 and Transfers of Prisoners Act 1950. See, the government combined all this law into the new Model Prison Acts of 2023. State and union territory can adopt this act, modify it if needed and replace the old act. See, kindly remember this fact. Now moving on to the second statement. The Prisons Act of 1894 was the first law to manage prison in India. It defined a prison as a jail or a place used by state governments for holding the prisoners but not including police custody or small jails. Further, it demarcated the prisoners into three different categories according to the nature of the crime which they have performed. The three categories are criminal prisoner, convicted criminal prisoner and civil prisoner. So, statement 2 is also correct. So, the correct answer for the question is option A, that is both the statements are correct and statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. So, with this, now let us see the next MCQ of the day. It states about Nagoya Protocol. Okay, now let us discuss about the protocol before answering. See, the Nagoya Protocol is an international agreement which aims at sharing the benefits which are arising out of the utilization of the genetic resources in a fair and equitable manner. It was adopted in 2010 and entered into force in 2014. See, India is a party to the Nagoya Protocol. On continuing our discussion, the Biodiversity Management Committee or BMCs are the local bodies which got established under the Biodiversity Act 2002. According to the BD Act 2002, every local body in the state shall establish a Biodiversity Management Committee within its area of jurisdiction for the purpose of promoting biological diversity and conservation. Moreover, it also aims for sustainable use and documentation of the biodiversity. In other words, it can be said that in India, BMC function as an agency for the implementation of the aims or objectives of the Nagoya Protocol. So, statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 talks about the functions of BMCs. See, BMCs are responsible for promoting the conservation, sustainable use and documentation of the biological diversity within their jurisdiction. It is having important functions in determining the access and benefit sharing, including the power to levy the collection fees on the access of biological resources within its jurisdiction. See, the BMCs are key to realization of the objective of the Nagoya Protocol in India. They play an important role in ensuring that the benefit arising out from the utilization of the genetic resources are shared in a fair and equitable way. See, the BD Act gives BMCs the independent authority to charge those who collect biological resources within their territorial jurisdiction by way of collecting fees. The ability of the BMCs to collect the fees will allow them to develop their own financial resources so that they can carry out the objectives of the Act. So, second statement also is correct. So, the correct option is option C. Both the statements are correct. With this, now let us move on to see the news articles of the day. Look at this picture. This picture from the today's newspaper highlights the moment after the first spell of pre-monsoon showers in Mumbai. In this backdrop, let us revise about the southwest monsoon and its mechanisms for our preliminary examination. See, the location of Intertropical Convergence Zone or ITCZ shifts north and south of equator with the apparent movement of sun. During the month of June, the sun shines vertically over the Tropic of Cancer and thereby ITCZ shifts northwards. The southeast trade winds of the southern hemisphere crosses the equator and start blowing in southwest to northeast direction under the influence of Coriolis force. These winds collect moisture as they travel over the warm Indian Ocean. See, in the month of July, the ITCZ shifts to 20 to 25 degree north latitude and it's located in the Indo-Gangetic plains, and the southwest monsoon blow from the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal. See, the ITCZ in this position is called monsoon trough. The shift in the position of ITCZ is also related to the phenomenon of withdrawal of the westerly jet stream from its position over the North Indian plain and south of Himalayas. Also, the easterly jet stream or Somali jet sets in along the 15 degree north latitude only after the withdrawal of the western jet stream from the region. See, the eastern jet stream is held responsible for the burst of monsoon in India. As these winds approach the land, their southwesterly direction is modified by the relief and the thermal low pressure over the northwest India. The monsoon approaches the Indian landmass in two branches. Firstly, the Arabian Sea branch. See, in this branch, the monsoonal winds originating over the Arabian Sea. Secondly, Bay of Bengal branch. See, the Arakan hills along the coast of Myanmar deflect a big portion of this branch towards the Indian subcontinent. The monsoon therefore enters the West Bengal and Bangladesh from the south and southeast direction instead of southwesterly direction. Another phenomenon associated with the monsoon is its tendency to have a break in rainfall. See, the monsoonal rains take place only for a few days at a time. Moreover, they are interspersed with rainless interval. These breaks in the monsoon are related to the movement of the monsoonal trough. Despite an overall unity in the general pattern, there are perceptible regional variations in the climatic conditions within the country. Talking about the significance, see, about 64% of the people in India depend on agriculture for their livelihood, and agriculture itself is based on monsoon. See, agricultural prosperity of India depends very much on the timely and adequately distributed rainfall. If it fails, agriculture is adversely affected, particularly in those regions where means of irrigation are not developed. Monsoon rains also helps recharge dams, reservoirs, which are further used for the generation of hydroelectric power. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about the mechanism of the Indian monsoon from the preliminary perspective. With this, let us move on to see the next news article of the day. Look at this article. It states that India's goal to eliminate the tuberculosis by 2025 has slowed down. See, TB still kills about 480,000 people in India every year. So, the Health Ministry and ICMR are changing the protocols of the TB treatment to improve the situation. Despite efforts over the past 50 years, many TB cases are still not diagnosed or properly treated, especially in the private clinics. The ministry also highlights the need of using the new technologies for early detection and better treatment to reduce the TB cases and deaths in India. See, this is the crux of the article. In this backdrop, let us revise about the basics of TB for the upcoming preliminary examination. See, tuberculosis or TB is a contagious infection caused by the bacterium called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It mainly affects the lungs but can also impact other parts of the bodies like spine, kidneys and brain. Know that it spread through air when an infected person coughs, sneezes or talks. The common symptoms include a persistent cough, fever, night sweats and weight loss. Note an important point that TB can be fatal if not treated properly, but it is preventable and curable with the right medical care. Talking about the TB burden in India, see, India has the highest TB burden in the world. According to the WHO, India accounts for 26% of the global TB cases. Every year, millions of Indians develop TB and hundreds of thousands die out of it. See, several factors contribute to the high TB burden in India. Let us see them one by one. Firstly, overcrowding. See, many people living in the densely populated area making it easy for the spread. Secondly, poverty. See, limited access to healthcare and poor living conditions increases the vulnerability to tuberculosis. Thirdly, people with HIV are more susceptible to TB due to their weakened immune system. Fourthly, malnutrition. See, poor nutrition weakens the body's defenses against the infections like TB. So, with this understanding, now let us revise about the drug-resistant TB. See, one of the biggest challenges in combating TB is the emergence of drug-resistant strains. Drug-resistant TB occurs when the TB bacteria do not respond to the standard treatments due to the misuse or incorrect use of antibiotics. Note that there are two main types of drug-resistant TBs. They are multi-drug resistant TB. See, this is a type of TB which is resistant to at least two of the most effective TB drugs called isoniazid and rifampicin. And secondly, extensively drug-resistant TB. See, this form is resistant to isoniazid, rifampicin and additional second-level drugs, making it even more difficult to treat. Know that the drug-resistant TB requires the longer, more complex and often more expensive treatment regimen. It also has lower treatment success vice versa the drug-sensitive TB. Okay, finally, let us see what are the steps taken by India to combat TB. See, India has implemented several strategies and programs to tackle TB and its drug-resistant forms. Firstly, Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan. See, it's a national-wide campaign focusing on making India a TB-free one by promoting public awareness and involvement. Secondly, National Strategic Plan for Tuberculosis Elimination. See, it's a comprehensive plan aimed at reducing the TB cases and deaths through various steps like early detection, treatment and preventive measures. Thirdly, TB Harega Desh Jitega campaign. See, it encourages the community participation and awareness to combat TB. Fourthly, Nikshep Poshan Abhiyan. See, this Yojana provides monthly financial assistance to the TB patients to support their nutritional needs during the treatment. And finally, Report India. See, it's a collaborative research initiative with the United States which got established in 2013 under the Indo-US Vaccine Action Program. See, this program focusing on the TB research and addressing the global threat of the disease. See, these are some of the initiatives taken by India to eliminate TB in India. So, in conclusion, we can say that understanding TB and India's efforts to combat it are crucial for addressing this significant public health challenge. By focusing on the early detection, effective treatment and preventive measures, India aims to reduce the TB burden and move closer to its goal of eliminating the diseases. This is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw elaborately on the tuberculosis. Revise it often because it will appear in the preliminary examination. With this, now let us see the next news article of the day. Look at this editorial. 18th Indian general election likely marks the end of political cycle even though there was not a change in the ruling party. See, the ruling party lost its majority but became the largest party. See, normally a single party rule may have the positive dimensions like efficiency, taking bold reforms, etc. But on the flip side, it may lead to political or economic power become concentrated in a very few hands as evident in the various regimes across the world. Moreover, this gets reflected in the business sector where a small number of well-connected individuals control the resources and dominating the economy. As an alternative to this, a coalition government will have many positives like significant cooperation in politics, economy and social issues due to the new balance of power and shifting narratives. But we have to wait and watch whether these changes will be positive or negative. This is the crux of the editorial. In this backdrop, let us discuss the main question relating to this topic. The main question given here is, in the era of coalition politics, political parties are not aligning or realigning based on the ideology. What arguments would you put forward to support or oppose this statement? See, this comes under GS paper 2. Before answering this question, we need to understand the key statement in this question. In the era of new coalition politics, political parties are not aligning or realigning based on the ideology. See, the statement suggests that nowadays political formations, alliances are formed more out of pragmatism and strategic interest rather than the shared ideological belief. We can go against the statement or supporting the statement. In this answer, we will provide both supporting and opposing arguments. First, let us give a short intro relevant to the coalition politics. There is a famous saying, power tends to corrupt and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Real political change and progress are not achieved by the politics of confrontation and polarization. But it can be achieved with the politics of compromise, consensus and coalition. On the other hand, coalition partners might engage in blaming others for failures rather than taking the collective responsibility. In coalition governments, the struggle for power can lead to compromised ethics and corruption. Sacrificing ideology in order to form the coalition has both positive and negative connotations. Let us discuss them in our answer. See, this can be your introduction. In the first part, let us provide arguments to support the statements which was given in the question. Firstly, power and influence. Most of the parties in India are ready to join coalitions to gain access to power and influences, even if it means compromising their ideologies. Smaller parties in particular may need to align with the larger parties to ensure their survival and relevance in the political arena. Secondly, for winning elections. See, coalitions are often formed to maximize the chances of winning elections. Parties may collaborate with ideologically diverse partners to secure a majority, reflecting a strategic approach rather than the ideological one. Also, forming coalitions with diverse parties can help attract a broader voter base, appealing to various sections of population. Thirdly, compromising ideology for a stable government. See, in coalition government, the parties will have to compromise their ideology to form a stable government. Parties may downplay their differences to ensure the coalition's stability and longevity. Coalition partners might find common ground in specific policies like economic reform, national security, social welfare, which transcends the division of ideologies. Fourthly, changing voter behavior. See, the voter loyalty to the traditional ideological lines are decreasing. More people are voting based on the issues, appeals of the candidates, or short-term benefits rather than the ideological commitments. So, parties need to form alliances with the multiple partners to accommodate the aspiration of the voters rather than aligning based on the ideology. See, this can be your first part of the answer. Now, let us give points for those who are opposing the statement. Here, we have to argue that the coalition parties are aligning based on the ideology. Firstly, core ideological belief. See, despite the appearance of pragmatism, many parties still maintain core ideological values that guide their policies, political action, even within the coalition. Many parties having the long-standing ideological foundation and history are reluctant to abandon as these form their part of identity and legacy. Secondly, ideological coalitions. Some coalitions are formed precisely because of ideological alignments. For example, left-leaning parties might form alliances to promote social justice and welfare policies, where right-leaning parties might unite around the economic policies. These parties naturally align together as their foundational values are similar. Thirdly, policy consistency. Even within the coalitions, parties often negotiate to ensure that their base ideological values are upheld. See, this indicates that the ideology still plays the significant role. A notable example is the UPA government in 2004-8. While INC pushed for the economic liberalization, the left alliances ensured that the social security measures and labor rights were also given due importance. See, this can be the supporting statements for those who can oppose the statement. See, this is regarding the body of the answer. Now coming to the conclusion. While there is an evidence to support both the sides of argument, the reality of the coalition politics includes the mix of pragmatic consideration and ideological commitment. Coalitions have the potential to create broad-based support and mitigate extremes. They also pose challenges to the governmental coherence and stability. The extent to which ideology plays a role in the coalition formation can vary depends upon the specific political context, issues, and various parties which are involved. See, this is about your conclusion. This is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about the importance of coalition politics and its advantages. With this, let us move on to discuss the next news article of the day. Look at this news article. Data from the Cassini spacecraft has supported the dark matter theory that provides a robust framework to explain the various astronomical observations. See, observations shows that the galaxies rotate much faster than what would be expected if only visible matter were present. Here, the visible matters in the galaxies are stars, gas, and dust. This discrepancy suggests that there must be an additional unseen mass providing the necessary gravitational pull to hold the galaxies together. See, normally this unseen mass is referred to be as dark matter, but know that the dark matter cannot be seen or felt. This led to the development of the alternative theory called Milgromian dynamics or MOND. But a recent study on the data from the Cassini spacecraft has proved that MOND theory is wrong. See, this is the crux of the article. In this context, let us revise about dark matter and dark energy. Before entering our discussion, have the basic understanding. See, the visible universe makes up only 5% of all the matters. Dark matter and dark energy makes up the remaining 95% of the universe. Now coming about dark matter. See, it's made up of particles that do not have a charge. We call these particles as dark because they do not emit light, which is an electromagnetic phenomenon. And they are called matter because they possess mass like the normal matter and hence interact through gravity. Remember, even though they interact through gravity, since they do not have a charge, they do not interact through electromagnetic interactions. This feature of the DM makes it very hard to detect. See, the existence of the dark matter is inferred only from the gravitational effects on the visible matter. Know that even though DM affects the structure and evolution of the universe, the composition of the dark matter is still unknown. See, this is about dark matter. Talking about dark energy is a hypothetical form of energy that exerts a negative repulsive pressure behaving as an opposite of the gravity. See, it is responsible for the accelerating pace of the universe. Remember, dark energy is far more dominant force compared to dark matter, accounting for roughly 68% of the universe total mass and energy. Similar to dark matter, dark energy is also not directly observed, but rather it is being inferred from the observation of gravitational interactions between various astronomical objects. In simple words, guys, dark matter and dark energy are the yin and yang of the cosmos. Dark matter produces an attractive force or gravity, while dark energy produces the repulsive force or anti-gravity. While dark matter holds our universe together, dark energy is why our universe is expanding. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about the dark matter and dark energy from preliminary perspective. This is all regarding the discussion. With this, now let us move on to next part of our discussion, that is to discuss the preliminary practice questions. Today we are having two questions. Let us solve them one by one. Look at the first question. Which of the following observations supports the existence of dark matter? See, out of 4 options, observation shows that the stars in the outer regions of the galaxies rotate faster. See, this can be accounted for the visible matter alone, suggesting the presence of additional unseen masses, which is known as dark matter. So, out of 4 options, option C, the rotation curves of the galaxies fit into our observation. So, the correct option is option C. Let us see the second question of the day. Consider the following statements regarding the southwest monsoon in India. See the first statement. It's a seasonal wind pattern that brings heavy rainfall to the Indian subcontinent during the summer months. See, this statement is correct because southwest monsoon is a seasonal wind pattern monsoon that brings rainfall during the summer months. Let us see the second statement. The onset of the southwest monsoon in India is marked by the arrival of the first rainfall in the state of Kerala. See the statement. This is correct, as we know that the onset of the southwest monsoon in India is marked by the arrival of the first rainfall in the state of Kerala. This event is known as onset of monsoon and is eagerly waited every year. Let us see the third statement. It affects only the coastal regions of India and has no significant impacts on the interior parts of the country. See, this statement is incorrect because we know that southwest monsoon brings heavy rainfall to almost all parts of India, where it is supporting the agriculture, recharging the water resources and influencing the country's economy and livelihood. Moreover, the monsoon plays a crucial role in the agricultural sector, as significant portion of Indian population are dependent on agriculture, which is rain-fed. So the statement 3 is incorrect. So eliminating this, the correct option is option A. The main question based on today's discussion is displayed here. Interested aspirants can write and get back to us. If you like today's video, like, comment and share it with your friends. For more updates regarding UPSC preparation, subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you very much.